Hey guys, it's Hayden here making another video. Today we're going to talk about love. Let's get into it. Welcome to another video. For any of you who are new to my channel, I talk about personal development, spirituality, mental health, and whatever kind of insights cross my mind. If that sounds interesting to you or you find this video helpful, then consider checking out my other videos. If you're interested with working on me one-on-one, I do offer coaching, card readings, and energy work. So if that sounds interesting to you, then you can check out more information about that on my website, which will be in the description below. So today I want to talk about love. Just because love has been kind of a theme in my life recently. I think for a long time in my life, and I'm sure I'll be saying this again in the future at some point, I didn't know what love really was. I didn't know what it felt like. I didn't know what it meant, how to show it, how to feel it. And I've had a lot of changes recently inside of me and how I view my reality and my life and how I want to move forward in life. And it's led me to understand that love is so important. And love is not, from my experience, at least recently, my insights that I've been having, love is not something that comes from outside of us. The generation of love comes from within each person. So we can feel love from others. We can experience love from others. So if we have parents that genuinely love us and express that to us, and we can feel that love, we can sense that and we can perceive that. But just because we have perceived it or felt it in the past or known what it was at one point in time doesn't mean that we know how to generate it within ourselves. And we can learn how to love from other people. We can learn how to connect with other people in that way. And things like healthy relationships, things like friendships are gateways into discovering love and finding that connection with others and finding that connection with yourself. But where love really stems from, again, is from within you, within me, within each individual is where that love can be experienced. And so as much as other people will love us, as much as other people will say they love us, that give us love, experience, send us that, and we can feel that, until that generation of love comes from within, it's going to be hard to love yourself and to love others from a place that is not trying to take from them. Because when we're deprived of love, or when we're not able to generate love from within ourselves, a lot of the things we try to reach for in life are outside of us, trying to fill that hole of where love could be. It's where, like, we find addictions, we find any kind of behavior that is seeking to fill a void. That's where all that comes from. And we all have there's so much love to give, and to, like, the universe is just like full of like life itself is just like a big expression of love in some ways. And I know people who have experienced psychosis, because there's a lot of people who follow this channel who have experienced psychosis, may have encountered states of feeling that love and feeling that connection and feeling that understanding that there's so much power and so much like beauty in this universe. So in that sense, I really think that there are definitely some truths to the experience of psychosis. I'm personally very grateful for my experiences. I would not recommend people try to seek out a psychosis experience. However, it can be a learning opportunity, just like anything can be a learning opportunity. And again, I'm not advising people to go out and try to induce psychosis, but anything in life really can be a learning opportunity to grow and to develop and understand yourself better. And so my experiences with psychosis, I've kind of chosen, and I have had the opportunity and, the kind of the privilege of having resources that allowed me to take my recovery process and to take care of myself in some ways. And so I am in a privileged position where I am able to see those experiences as an opportunity for growth. I think some people who maybe don't have the resources or the support required to maybe go into a place where they're able to enter that mind frame of being grateful for the experience. These are challenging experiences, and without support and without guidance and without the space that I had, I don't know if I would be where I am today. So I just want to kind of express that I'm grateful for that, and that I don't think everybody is gifted that opportunity, unfortunately. And I hope someday everyone is. But love is really, it's a big part of my life right now. I'm not really sure what happened, but I've recently kind of felt this like opening in my heart, and an understanding that like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, I just love my partner like so deeply now. Like it's not like I can't even like quantify it. It's just like I just have so much love for her. And I think for so long I was afraid to like let myself go to that place where I could just be like, yes, I love them so deeply that it feels like infinite. And I feel like that kind of love just kind of connects you with the universe. It like connects you with others. It connects you with the natural world. More and more, I'm realizing how much everything is connected. How much we're connected to the plants. How much we're connected to the animals. How much we're connected to one another. And this whole kind of narrative of separateness and narrative of one person is a millionaire and a billionaire, and another person doesn't have like anything to support themselves with and is left in a place of scarcity. Like it just doesn't like really make sense to me. I understand why it's happening. Because I think culture as a whole is identified, not as a whole. There's everybody's kind of in a different place in culture as a whole and as society as a whole. Um, but we're in this kind of mass dream in some sense of like we all have this connection to an evolutionary process of where humans are and what the narrative is, and we're just as in our personal lives we can identify with a specific mindset about ourselves that we're not good enough, that we could be better, and we're that people won't like me and stuff like that, and that kind of determines how you interact with the world and how you feel about yourself. We all have these narratives. Someone else might have a narrative that they're a beautiful person and that they are very loving and stuff. It doesn't matter. Like the narrative basically has a huge impact in some ways on the reality that's created and experienced by the individual. The same case applies to culture and society. The narrative, the myths, the stories that we tell each other in our culture, and the myths and stories that we follow determine the reality that we create in this life. And so it's really crucial, I think, to kind of evaluate the structures and the narratives that are in place in our worlds today. And I think a lot of this kind of unfolding of consciousness in some ways, of like understanding like, oh, this narrative is what's happening, and maybe we need to move to a different paradigm or like shift our perspective. Culture and consciousness is always evolving, but obviously we've come to a point where we're pushing up against the natural boundary of being able to support ourselves and to live sustainably on this planet. So there's a little bit, there's a much greater pressure. So change kind of needs to happen. And a lot of changes are happening. There's a lot of people who are speaking up and speaking out and trying to help people understand how important it is for us to change the way we think about things. And this process is happening right now. And it can be a scary process, I think, for some to see this much change and to see how much conflict is arising. The tensions are getting higher, and we just need to know that like we're all in this together. Like we're all here. We're all a part of this planet, this earth. We're all part of this grand ecosystem, this floating rock in the universe, and we need to take care of our home. We need to take care of our brothers and sisters, our animals, our plants, our neighbors, our consciousness, So we all have things to work on. There's some things that I know I could do better on, and maybe that's just my inner critic talking, but it's a process, and it's not about being perfect. It's not about changing everything all at once. It's about just showing up in the way that you're able to, and showing in some way that you care about this change, that you want to contribute to this change. And if your contribution is making sure that you're doing recycling, and that's like where you're at, that's great. That's awesome. Just small steps and changes and movement towards that new world that we all want to, that not everybody wants to create, but that is going to move towards a more sustainable way of living, like growing your own herbs at home, having a home garden, doing gardening in the city, like vertically. There's like different ways to grow stuff. Those are all ways to contribute. The more self-sustainable we can be as individuals, eventually, like on an energetic level, as far as like electricity, as far as nutrition, so like growing some food for ourselves, the more able it's gonna take less pressure off of the infrastructure that is in place that can contribute to unsustainable practices. And obviously this goes a lot deeper than just like individual sustainability. There's legislation, there's investment that needs to be made into more sustainable practices on a whole. But it's all about every journey, like I was talking about last week. Every journey starts with one step. And so if we're just taking one step towards that new world by being kind to your neighbor, by being nice to yourself and allowing yourself to experience peace and experience love and experience connection. And if you're struggling with those, reaching out for help and trying to figure out how to work through this. Because as you work through that yourself, and as you begin to integrate and as you begin to process, you're not only doing that for yourself, you're also healing others. You're healing the planet. You're healing that consciousness that was stuck in that web. And that contributes to the whole. And so there's so much more going on than we can possibly perceive. And even the stuff that I'm talking about, I'm sure, is just barely scratching the surface. This is Hazel. Hazel Basil. She loves to snuggle. Right, Hazy Bazy? You want to be part of the video? So, it's just, it's life, and it's this beautiful creation that is precious and amazing, and such a beautiful opportunity. And we have an opportunity to make it just this amazing place. And we can do it. We can. We have to work together, and we have to realize that we're all connected to something much bigger than just us. And that all the other parts of the universe have something to offer, something to teach us, something to share with us. And this is something that natives and people who spend a lot of time in nature already know. This is not new knowledge. This is something that is very ancient, and very something that we already have in our DNA and in our structure. It's just that as we grew, somewhere along the line, we began to identify with things separate from one another, things separate from nature. And it's probably a natural phase of evolution, and I'm not trying to not edify. I'm not trying to glorify the past, because if it was sustainable in the past, it would have continued, and it didn't. So this kind of evolution that's happening needed to happen, otherwise it wouldn't have happened. So we're here now, and we have our ancestors behind us that have brought us to where we are today, and we're currently the people that are leading the charge, and we have to decide what kind of world we want to create as people, and everyone's responsible for this. Whether you feel powerful or not, you are. You have power, and your power is incredible, and your power is strong. And people are afraid of their own power, and people try to take away power. There's always a battle for power. And I'm not talking about power of like dominating another person or dominating another group of people. The power I'm talking about is an inner power of a power of like that your voice matters, a power of that your thoughts and your feelings and your perception of reality and your heart matters. And every voice is important because we're all in this process of learning and of growing, and we all need to be able to come together and share and understand each other and find ways to bridge, to create connections, and to build something together. And so I really think that, like, and this is not new information, but like love is kind of the is kind of the definition for me of connection. So just how like fabric is weaved with thread, and like the fabric from a distance can have these beautiful patterns and sort of specific, maybe like a picture of animals or a picture of like a you know, a scene, or you know, maybe it's just a cool pattern. It's all weaved with thread, and I think that's like how our universe is kind of created. Like there's this, like, we have this physical reality that is existent, and it is all physically connected to one another. But I'm someone who firmly, it's not even really a belief per se for me. It's just I guess I would say I know that, like, there's more to reality than what we can perceive. Well, I do know that because different animals perceive reality from a completely different perspective, on a completely different spectrum of understanding. Like bees can see ultraviolet, birds can sense cardinal directions using the electromagnetic frequency of the earth. So there's animals that literally can see different dimensions than what we can perceive with our senses. So I know for a fact that there are things and realities that exist that we cannot perceive, and so this sort of this reality, I think, on another level, on a more cosmic, or if you look at the ecosystem, the thing that kind of binds it all together, maybe like the water of the universe is love. So if life is the universe, doing like a comparison, so if the universe and life are the same, for this example, love would be what ties it all together, basically. And then life, the water, is what makes everything alive. So if we use that same example, that's, you get what I'm saying. So I think love connects everything. And so when I had this breakthrough with feeling this love unconditionally and just like so deeply with Taylor, it just kind of like made me realize that this is it. Like, this is the love. This is like what people talk about when they say love. And so I kind of happened to open that door in my relationship with Taylor. And I'm sure that door will open again more and more. I think the heart can always open more and more. And there's many different paths to opening the heart. There's no one right way to open your heart. It's going to be your journey. It's going to be your path and your exploration and your discovery. And it doesn't mean that I don't experience anxiety or insecurity, or I still experience all of those things. Like, I'm still human, obviously. Just because my heart has opened up more doesn't mean like all my problems go away. Which I think is like what some people think about, like enlightenment or something. It's like, oh, like he's enlightened, he doesn't struggle with anything anymore. I don't think that's how that works. I think there's just an understanding and a trusting in the process, and knowing that, like, hey, I'm connected to something so much bigger than what is me. It's almost like kind of perceiving life as like a journey or an adventure or like a mushroom trip or something, like this is like the universe will bring to me what I need to learn, and trusting the universe will support me in that. And that's kind of my perspective, and it's been helpful for me. Um, but everybody has their own way of moving through the world and their own way of understanding and their own way of connecting, their own way of loving someone. And so there's no right way to perceive the world per se. There's just it's you're going to see the world based on where you are in your journey. And I think that the universe is going to provide feedback on where you are. Um, and I don't know. That's me assuming, you know. I have very little knowledge as to how the universe works or how everything kind of falls in place. But what I do know is what I can connect with and what I can feel and what I can see in others and what I can do with others and what I can touch in this world. So I try to focus on those things, on the things that I can control, and trusting that the things that I can't control will show up and work themselves out in the way they need to. So, showing up, doing what I can, and letting go of the rest as best as possible. Sometimes I hang on to things, and then that's another lesson too, because it becomes heavy and you got to drop it at some point. So it's just a big little adventure we're on. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I think that's all I have to share for today. I hope this talk was helpful for you, and I hope that you guys are having a wonderful day. Just know that no matter who you are, no matter what you've done, no matter what you think of yourself, you are loved, and you are somebody that has value and worth and integrity. So make sure to seek your truth and to take time for yourself, and I will catch you in my future videos. Bye for now.